Head to Canada, where the first polls are closing in the Canadian general election. You are looking at live pictures at Mississauga in Ontario, where some of these polling stations are starting to close. It's been quite interesting. We've seen really a late narrowing of the lead of the Liberal Party, thanks to the Conservatives in the election campaign. The Liberals, as they headed to the vote, holding just over 40% of the popular vote share. Conservatives seen at about 39%. So this dominant issue across this election obviously has been which candidate is really best to stand up to Donald Trump. Voters have been seeing that preference towards Liberal leader Mark Carney when it comes to this issue. It has been a tightened race, and we have seen a little bit more optimism from the Conservatives as the vote count, which comes in live, has been coming in. But despite, of course, the tightness that we've seen into the end of this election campaign, the polls do still suggest that we could see the election result that had been sort of predicted. But let's get live to Ottawa now. Bloomberg Executive Editor Decloet joins us now. So early returns, Derek, from the eastern part of the country. Does it give us any indication of how this is trending?
It doesn't tell us a lot, because Atlantic Canada is not necessarily indicative of the rest of the country, and it's less than 10% of the seats. However, what those early results do show is the Conservatives doing perhaps a little bit better than what they thought, and the Liberals doing perhaps a little bit worse than what they had hoped. In the last election 4 years ago, the Liberals took 24 out of the 32 seats in this region. They'd been hoping to more or less, repeat that performance. Looks like they might come in more like 21, 22. So the question is whether that is something that is going to indicate a softer vote in the more populated parts of Canada, like Ontario and Quebec, where it would result in affecting many more seats.
So what will you be watching most closely in the next hour?
Well, we've got a flood of results to come in starting in about 15 minutes, where the polls will close in Quebec, Ontario, most of Western Canada, and that's most of the country. So we should know quite a bit more about an hour from now than we do right now. This election is going to get decided in the suburbs around Toronto, the suburbs around Montreal, the big cities, where there are dozens and dozens of seats, and many areas where Liberals and Conservatives are fighting very close contests and have traditionally been extremely competitive with each other. So that really, how well does the Liberal vote hold up, for example, in the suburbs north of Toronto, where there's lots of auto plants and lots of concern about tariffs, and west of Toronto, and around Montreal, which also has a significant aluminum industry that's been affected by the trade war. So that will tell the tale.